You step off the back of the boat. The suit you are wearing cannot fail. That is the only rule we are breaking today. Everything else here is real. Real depths, real pressures, real animals, all of them photographed. You start to sink. Almost everyone thinks they know what the ocean does to a body. They think it crushes you flat, like a can underfoot. It does not. You are mostly water. Water does not compress. So the ocean does not squeeze your body. It squeezes the air inside it. And the air is the first thing to go. Below you, there are 10 thresholds. Each one takes something from you, your air, your judgment, your lungs, then your colors, then the sun, then every human being who has ever lived. Past a certain depth, nothing that happens has happened to anyone. And at the very bottom, at the deepest point on Earth, someone found a plastic bag. We are going all the way down. 10 meters first. 10 meters down, 2 atmospheres. You have sunk the length of a bus. The pressure on you has already doubled. Not risen, doubled. 10 meters of seawater weighs as much as the whole atmosphere above it. The entire sky, matched by 1 bus length of water. Here is what people get wrong. They picture the pressure crushing flesh. Flesh is fine. You are about 60% water. Water is very nearly incompressible. Squeeze it and it simply refuses. Your arms, your legs, your muscle, the pressure passes straight through. The problem is every pocket of air you carry. Your lungs, your sinuses, your middle ear. Air compresses beautifully. At 10 meters, the air in you is half its old volume. Something has to fill the space it left. Your eardrum bows inward to fill it. That is the pain divers feel first. Robert Boyle worked this out in 1662. Pressure up, volume down in exact proportion. He was not thinking about divers. He was thinking about a tube of trapped air. Every diver alive is still obeying his equation. You can fight it. Divers pinch the nose and blow gently. That forces air up into the middle ear. The eardrum flattens out. The pain stops. It works down to about 40 meters. Then the arithmetic outruns you. Notice what the ocean has taken so far. Nothing from your body at all. Only the air you brought down with you. That is the pattern for everything below. 40 meters, 5 atmospheres, the light has gone blue and flat, and you feel good. Better than good. Calm, warm, faintly amused by everything. This is the most dangerous thing that will happen to you today. People expect the deep to feel frightening. At this depth it does the opposite. It feels like a very good drink. Nitrogen is 78% of the air you breathe. At the surface, it does nothing at all. Under pressure, far more of it dissolves into you. It slips into the fatty membranes of your nerve cells, and it interferes with the signals crossing them. The effect is close to anesthesia, largely because it is anesthesia. Jacques Cousteau had a name for this. L'ivresse des grands profondeurs, the rapture of the deep. He wrote about divers offering their mouthpiece to passing fish, not as a joke, as a kindness. Albert Bank identified the culprit in 1935, not the depth, the nitrogen. Divers still use a rough rule for it. Every 10 meters past 20 is worth 1 martini. At 40 meters, you have had 2. At 60, you have had 4. In the dark, holding your own air supply, so you take the nitrogen out. Replace it with helium, which barely dissolves. That works. The rapture stops. But helium sends its own bill, and that bill comes due much deeper. Notice what the ocean did here. It did not attack you. It made you feel wonderful and let you make the mistake yourself. 100 meters, 11 atmospheres. Your lungs are now 1/11th of their old volume. A full breath, folded down to roughly a fist. For most of the last century, this was believed to be lethal. The reasoning was simple and wrong. Compress a gas 11 times inside a rib cage. The rib cage collapses into the space it leaves. Physiologists put the hard human limit near 30 meters. Below that, they said, the chest fails. Then people went below 30 meters and did not die. Enzo Maiorca passed 50 meters in 1961. Herbert Nitsch reached 214 meters in 2007. On one breath, held the whole way. The calculation was not wrong about the air. It was wrong about the body. Blood does what the ribs cannot. As your chest compresses, the vessels in your lungs swell. Plasma floods into the space the gas gave up, and liquid does not compress. Your chest fills itself with something the ocean cannot squeeze. It is called the blood shift. Your heart slows down too, sometimes below 30 beats a minute. Blood withdraws from your hands and your feet. It keeps the heart and the brain supplied and abandons the rest. This is the mammalian dive reflex. Seals have it, whales have it, dolphins have it, so do you, so does a newborn baby. Put a human face in cold water and it fires within seconds. You did not train for this depth. You inherited it. Somewhere behind you is an ancestor who needed it. 200 meters. The sunlight zone ends here, but the darkness did not arrive all at once. Color has been dying the whole way down in order. Water absorbs long wavelengths first. Red goes first, and it goes early. By 10 meters, red is essentially gone. Orange follows at about 30. Yellow by 50. Green by 100. Blue travels furthest, so blue is what is left. This has a consequence people find hard to believe. Cut yourself at 30 meters and your blood is not red. There is no red light left for it to reflect. Your blood runs dark green, then black. Divers see this constantly. It still looks wrong every time. The animals here worked it out first. An enormous number of deep-sea creatures are bright red. At the surface, that would be absurdly conspicuous. Down here, it is the best camouflage available. Red, with no red light to reflect, is simply black. At 200 meters, the last useful sunlight runs out. Photosynthesis stops. Nothing below this line can grow from light. Everything below this line is eating leftovers. Those leftovers fall constantly. Dead plankton, scales, fecal pellets, the debris of the lit world above. It drifts down in a slow, pale drizzle. Oceanographers call it marine snow. It falls everywhere, all the time, and it never stops. You have been living on the roof of a food chain. The scraps from your world are the entire economy of the one below. 500 meters, the twilight zone. There is light here, but not enough to see by, and every night this water empties. Just after dusk, the animals here rise, billions of them, then trillions. Lanternfish, squid, shrimp, jellyfish, all of it going up. They feed in the dark surface water. Before dawn, they sink back down here. Every day, every night, everywhere in the ocean at once. This is the largest migration of animals on Earth, not the wildebeest, not the birds, this one. And it happens twice a day, not once a year. It has happened every single night of your life. It was discovered by accident in wartime. Sonar operators in the 1940s found a sea floor that was too shallow. The echo came back at 400 meters. Then, after dark, that floor rose toward the surface. Then it sank again by morning. They called it the deep scattering layer. For a while, the Navy suspected some Soviet trick. It was fish, uncountable numbers of fish. The reason they do it is simple, and it is fear. The food is at the surface. So are the things that eat you. So you visit at night and you hide by day. Every animal here has run the same calculation. There is a wave of life that passes under your boat every night. You have never seen it. Almost nobody has. 701 meters. This is the last depth on our list that a human body has actually endured. Everything below it your species has only visited inside a machine. And the record was not set in the ocean. It was set in a steel chamber in Marseille in 1992. A French diving company called Chemex ran an experiment. They named it Hydra 10. 3 divers were sealed in and slowly pressurized. Only one of them reached the bottom of the run. His name is Theo Mavrostomos. The compression alone took 13 days. He spent a few hours at depth. Then 23 days coming back up. 43 days in total. To travel 700 meters and return. The problem at this depth is not pressure on the body. It is what the breathing gas does at that pressure. Ordinary air would have killed him several ways over. Oxygen turns toxic. Nitrogen turns into anesthetic, so they gave him helium instead. And helium at this pressure brings its own disease. It is called high-pressure nervous syndrome. The hands shake. The vision blurs. Sleep breaks into pieces. Mavrostomos reported tremors and trouble speaking, so Chemex added hydrogen to hold it back. Hydrogen, helium, and oxygen. They called the mixture hydrolyox. It held together well enough to reach 701 meters. That was 1992. The record still stands, not because nobody has tried hard enough since, because that is roughly where the human body stops negotiating. From here down, nothing that happens has ever happened to a person. 1,000 meters. Sunlight has now ended completely. Not dim, ended. No photon from the sun reaches this water, so you would expect total darkness. It is not dark. Around 90% of the animals at this depth make their own light. They carry a molecule called luciferin. An enzyme called luciferase burns it with oxygen. The reaction gives off light and almost no heat. It is chemistry, not electricity. And it is very nearly perfectly efficient. They use it for everything. A lure dangled in front of a mouth. A glow along the belly that erases your silhouette from below. A cloud of shining slime thrown at a predator and swum away from. Some species use it simply to find each other. There are no landmarks here. A light is the only address you can have. The most abundant vertebrate on Earth lives in this water. Not a cow, not a chicken, certainly not a human. A finger-length fish called a bristlemouth. Estimates of its numbers run to a quadrillion. Almost nobody has heard its name. Now step back and look at the volume. The lit surface layer is a skin. Below it, this dark water is most of the living space on the planet. By volume, darkness is the normal condition of life on Earth. Sunlight is the strange local exception. You grew up inside the exception. This is the ordinary part of your planet. You are the visitor here. 3,800 meters. There is a ship down here. The Titanic has been on this floor since 1912. It was found in 1985 by Robert Ballard. 73 years of searching. It was 2.5 miles straight down. It is not preserved down here. It is being eaten. Rust hangs off the hull in long, drooping structures. Divers name them rusticles. They are not rust in the ordinary sense. They are colonies, bacteria and fungi living inside the iron. One of those bacteria was new to science. It was described in 2010 and named after the wreck, Halomonas titanici. It takes iron directly out of the hull. Some estimates give the wreck only decades before it collapses. Now look away from the ship. Look at what surrounds it. Flat, soft sediment in every direction, for hundreds of kilometers, 2 to 4 degrees above freezing, cold but never frozen. Silt so fine it took thousands of years to settle. This is the abyssal plain. It is the flattest terrain on Earth, and it covers more of this planet's surface than any other landscape, more than forest, more than desert, more than grassland. The single most common view on Earth is this one. Dark, cold, flat, and almost entirely unvisited. We have now mapped about 27% of it properly. In 2017, that number was 6%. 8,336 meters. We are in the Hadal Zone now. It is named after Hades. It begins at 6,000 meters. It is not a layer. It is a set of trenches. Narrow scars in the seafloor. On the 15th of August, 2022, a camera down here filmed a fish. A young snailfish. Pale, unhurried, about the size of your hand. It is the deepest fish ever recorded. It looks, honestly, like nothing much. What matters is that somebody predicted it. 8 years earlier. Pressure attacks proteins. It deforms them until they cannot fold or flex properly. Deep-sea animals defend themselves with a molecule called TMO. It braces those proteins and holds their shape. The deeper the fish, the more of it they carry. 40 units at the surface. 260 by 5,000 meters. In 2014, Paul Yancey followed that line downward and found that it runs into a wall. Load a cell with enough of it and the water balance inverts. The fish would start pulling seawater inward permanently. There is a second problem as well. Too much brace overstabilizes the protein. Muscle needs myosin to flex. Brace it hard enough and it stops flexing. The fish becomes too rigid to swim. Yancey extrapolated to where the lines cross, around 8,200 meters. He published it as a hard limit for fish, not in this trench, anywhere. Then, in 2022, the record fish was filmed. At 8,336 meters. 136 meters past the prediction. For an extrapolation from one deep specimen, that is remarkably close. Alan Jamison, who filmed it, said it was near the limit. So this is not a record waiting on a better camera. It is a chemical ceiling. There are trenches deeper than this. There are no fish in them. We have not found any yet. There cannot be any. The chemistry does not permit it. 10,935 meters. The Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench. The deepest known point on Earth. Drop Mount Everest in here. Its summit would still be 2 kilometers underwater. The pressure is about 1,100 atmospheres, roughly 16,000 pounds on every square inch. The weight of a car on a postage stamp, everywhere on you, all at once. 2 people got here in 1960, Jacques Pickard and Don Walsh in a vessel called Trist. The 23rd of January, they had 5 inches of steel in one small window, a window pane cracked on the way down. They kept going. They stayed 20 minutes and could barely see. They had kicked up the silt on landing. Then nobody came back for 52 years. James Cameron went down alone in 2012. Victor Vescovo has dived it again and again since 2019. 27 people have now been to this spot. That number only recently passed the number who walked on the moon. The best measurement of the bottom came in 2020. 10,935 meters, give or take 6. Things live here. That is the surprise, not fish. We settled that one depth ago. But amphipods, small pale crustaceans, in numbers. One of them is called Hierndalea gigas. It eats sediment straight off the trench floor, and it uses that sediment to build itself armor. Its gut pulls aluminium out of the mud. In seawater, the aluminium turns into a gel. The animal wears the gel like a shell. At the deepest point on the planet, something is making metal. And then there is the other thing found down here. On his 2019 dives, Vescovo reported what looked like a plastic bag. Sweet wrappers have been photographed on the trench floor. Amphipods from these trenches carry man-made chemicals in their tissue. PCBs. Banned decades ago. In animals 11 kilometers down. In some samples, at higher concentrations than in rivers beside industrial cities. We have reached the deepest point on Earth 27 times. Our rubbish was already there. You are on the floor now, 10,935 meters. Look up. 10 meters took your air. 40 took your judgment. 100 folded your lungs and your body simply handled it. 200 took the colors and then the sun. 500 showed you the largest migration on Earth. 701 was the last depth your species has survived. 1,000 was where the darkness turned out to be full of light. 3,800 was the most common landscape on your planet. 8,300 was where the chemistry ran out. And this is the bottom. Here is the part worth keeping. You did not travel to a remote place. You traveled to the average place. The ocean is most of this world. Most of the ocean is dark and cold and under pressure. The warm-lit, breathable layer you live in is a film on top of it. Pick a random point inside the living space of this planet. It looks like this. There is no sunlight here. There never has been. There are animals down here that have never met a human being or a photon from the sun. And there is a plastic bag. That is the part to sit with. Not that the deep is hostile. It is not hostile. It is simply indifferent and enormous and old. The unsettling part is that we still managed to reach it.